Welcome to part 2 of an in-depth look at building the ultimate home theater system. In the previous episode, we looked at using over-the-air HD broadcast to record and capture DRM-free, beautiful HD recordings of some of your favorite TV shows. Now this method works really well for your local programming, and if you have a Myth box or even like a Vista Media Center capable system, you can record and then play back on your home theater systems using a bunch of different types of playback devices. You could build a Myth TV front end at your TV, or you could set up a Vista Media Center system hooked up to your TV. But the issue I found with those is it's a large layer of complexity, and when it comes to my TV at least, I just want to kick back and relax. I never want to have to worry about doing an update or not doing an update or something not being recognized or anything like that that sometimes can happen with a PC. I just want to click a button and veg. So, with that in mind, I took the approach of using a PlayStation 3 to play back my media. There's lots of types of software for both Windows, Linux, and the Mac that let you stream to a PS3 using DNLA and Universal Plug and Play, or UPnP, to connect your media source to your PS3. And they work really great, and I've been using that method. So this next clip, I'll kind of talk about that a bit and show you kind of the interface for all that and give you an idea of why the PS3 makes a pretty great playback device. And of course, since it's a PS3, it supports high definition out of the box, it's powerful and fast, and it's a Blu-ray player. Now there's probably 100 different ways you can get the content you capture with your Myth TV box to your main TV system. One of them would be to have what they call a Myth front end out here. So in my case, I'd have the Myth back end with the capture cards and whatnot, and the database that keeps track of all the programming back in my office. And then up here, I might have a Myth TV box sitting up front. And I have tried that. Actually, longtime listeners will know that's something I did for quite a while. In the end, though, I found it doesn't work that great for me because I don't want to manage a computer, and I wasn't completely happy with the interface. When it comes time, now I love technology, but when it comes time to watch TV, I honestly just want to keep things as simple as possible. So I looked into ways to make watching TV be incredibly technical on the back end, but as simple as possible on the front end. So I wanted to look into a more of an appliance approach, and that's when I started looking into the PlayStation. The PS3 is a pretty powerful unit, and it has a lot of different codec support, one of them being MPEG-2 that the Myth TV box happens to capture in. So that means, you guessed it, live recordings, they get saved and I can immediately play them back on my PS3. Now I can watch them live in my office if I want to, or on my Myth box that I have upstairs. But in the main living room, I wanted a very simple approach. So I decided what I would do was I would set up my Myth TV box to record live to my Drobo unit that I've reviewed on previous episodes, and then using the new Drobo SDK set up a streaming software. Now I realize that sounds like it's actually kind of complicated, and it did take some troubleshooting, but in the end setting up this SDK is simply dropping some files into a folder on my Drobo share, restarting the Drobo, and then dropping another file into another directory, and you're set up. Once it indexes, you're good to go. So the PS3 will then connect to my Drobo, and it sees all of the content on my Drobo. So now I'm looking on my PS3 at all of the different TV shows that I have. And since I'm capturing them in a non-DRM, non-encumbered format, they just sit there and I can use them for as long, I can keep them for as long as I want to. So let's say I wanted to watch 30 Rock. Oh, and the other nice thing about the PS3 is that it has a Bluetooth remote control, which means I have down over in that cupboard over there, I have my PS3, but because it's Bluetooth, it works through the cupboard. Now, heat, that's another issue, but that's for another show. Alright, so I can choose my season, and I can go in here, and up here will list every episode of 30 Rock from season 1 or 2, whichever season I happen to be in. Then I simply select the show that I want to watch, the PS3 calls it up off the Drobo, and will begin streaming it automatically. That's all I have to do. I don't have to go through and browse file structures or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward.
Are you sure this is a good idea?
And before the copyright please come and get me, I should probably put that on pause. This same approach also works for movies, and it's how I deliver my movies throughout my house. But my main thing for this particular segment was to focus on TV episodes. So here I have 30 Rock, but I have the same thing set up for local news. I have a local news folder structure set up, and I have things recorded to that. Basically, the way I have it set up is based on the recording of that episode. There's a script, a bash script, that just kicks off and moves it to that directory and dates and writes the file name based on the date of the recording. It's pretty simple and straightforward, and I'll post some information in the show notes. So in the end, I have a very simple, straightforward approach to playing back my recorded TV episodes on a PS3, which also happens to double as, you probably already know this, a Blu-ray player and of course a video game system. While I don't actually own a single video game for the PS3 that's on disc form, I've downloaded a couple, I do own Blu-rays. And so this plays directly into the ultimate home entertainment system setup, because now I have all of my DVDs and I have all of my TV shows on demand through my PS3, but also when I really want to watch something in ultimate high definition quality, I've also got a Blu-ray player now. And that's pretty key for the ultimate home entertainment system. In future segments, I'm going to talk about possibly installing Linux on the PS3. Maybe I can turn the PS3 into a simple Myth front end. Maybe. I'm not so sure though, because of that cell processor and things get a little funky on the PowerPC architecture side of things. Codec support and things like that. But if I can keep it to a couple of codecs, I might have a solution there. So look forward to that on future segments. Since recording that segment, I've sort of changed up my home theater system a bit. I still have my over-the-air HD, but I've augmented it with a dish satellite system. Now, in the previous part 1 episode, I talked about some of the advantages of not having to have a dish satellite system or a cable TV service or something like that. The thing ended up being was that I kind of wanted more. Once I got a taste of live TV, I wanted more TV. And so I looked at different packaging options and things like that, and I wanted, of course, a digital video recorder so I could get high definition. And I found a way to use Dish TV's DVR, and they have an input jack in the back of it that works with the over-the-air HD antenna. So I can still use my PS3 to play back my previously recorded content, and now I can utilize my over-the-air HD antenna with my Dish TV setup to kind of combine the best of the both worlds. I've noticed that most of the time over-the-air HD has a better picture quality than the compressed signal of the Dish system. I can go more into that system in the future if anybody would like to see some of the interface and things like that to the Dish DVR. I know when I was doing kind of like a comparison, trying to find out if I wanted to go with Comcast, the local cable company here, or if I wanted to go with DirecTV or what, a big component of my decision was, what's their DVR like? I'm a big TiVo guy in the past when I had live TV in previous houses and things like that, so I was really kind of concerned about the interface. So far I've been pretty happy with Dish Network's DVR, and if there's interest, I'd be happy to do a video review of the Dish DVR interface. Another thing we have coming up in part 3 of building the ultimate home theater system is using Xbox Media Center. Now this is something nobody's going to want to miss. Xbox Media Center is extremely impressive stuff. It's open source software that was originally created for Microsoft's original Xbox. It's now been renamed to XBMC, and it's been released for Windows, Mac, and Linux. There's also some offshoots such as Plex, which is designed and targeted specifically for the Mac, and Boxy, which is still an alpha and invite only, but tries to bring in social networking into your home theater system. Interesting concept, and some people say it's pretty cool stuff. So if I can get my hands on Boxy, I'll include it in the review. But for right now, I'm planning to do a full review of XBMC. I think everyone's going to be really impressed with this software package has been able to pull off in just under a year since converting it from the original Xbox. So look forward to part 3 of building the ultimate home theater system coming up soon.